and now was acknowledged the presence of the Red Death. He had come like a thief in the night, and one by one... Oh, hey, sorry, didn't see you there. I was just reading a short story to my cat. Edgar Allan Poe is Tonks's favorite. Yep, just reading The Masque of the Red Death for no particular relevant reason. Let me just finish up, and I'll be right with you. And one by one dropped the revelers in the blood-bedewed halls of their revel. Hi everyone, I'm Luna. Welcome to Lunarium. Wow, it has been quite an eventful week for President Trump's administration. There have been so many posts and articles talking about the president and the White House this week, and I have definitely noticed a troubling trend. Of course, this trend is not new, but I was reminded of it today when I went onto my news app and I found this Vanity Fair article titled "Steroid-Induced Psychosis. Donald Trump follows up Sunday night joyride with extra crazy Monday, even for him." This article was written by Bess Levin and it was published October 5th of 2020. If anyone's watching who's from a date later than 2020, hey, just wondering, do any of us survive? Let me know in the comments. But anyway, the article begins, capping off an insane weekend in which the White House got caught in its cover-up regarding when Donald Trump tested positive for COVID-19, if he was ever put on supplemental oxygen, and how serious his case is. The President of the United States decided the best thing to do while sick with a highly contagious disease was to force his Secret Service detail to drive him around Walter Reed National Military Medical Center so he could wave to his fans like the Queen of England, if the Queen was an unhinged lunatic hell-bent on infecting as many people as possible with a disease that has killed more than 209,000 in the U.S. alone. The language that is present, even just in this first paragraph, insane, unhinged lunatic, these are terms that are pejorative terms for mental illness. And the thing is, there's just no reason for that. You can call his actions illogical and selfish and vain, but there's absolutely no reason to be demeaning people with mental illness. Over the course of Trump's presidency, and even before Trump was president, people have used all kinds of terms when talking about Trump, calling him narcissistic, sociopathic, saying that he is senile, or he has clearly suffered from a stroke, he's mentally impaired, all kinds of things. The thing is, though, that these are all actual conditions that people have. These are medical conditions, and they're not terms that should just be thrown around loosely, because it means that the people who actually are living with conditions are being thrown under the bus just to insult Donald Trump. And I get why people want to insult Donald Trump. I hate the man. I want only bad things to happen to him. Still, there's a way to insult Trump without also insulting people who have medical conditions. The article continues, quoting Dr. James Phillips, MD, who tweeted, "Every single person in the vehicle during that completely unnecessary presidential drive-by just now has to be quarantined for 14 days. This is insanity." Then there's a quote by Lana Wen, MD, on Twitter, who said, "If real Donald Trump were my patient in unstable condition plus contagious illness, and he suddenly left the hospital to go for a car ride that endangers himself and others, I'd call security to restrain him, then perform a psychiatric evaluation to examine his decision-making capacity. And then the article goes on and shows all of these tweets that Trump made this morning. There's like a dozen of them in, I guess, a 45-minute period. And most of them are in all caps, and they're just like, an idea, then vote. And yeah, this is not a normal thing to be doing on Twitter. But then Bess Levin says, all of which could just be Trump at his normal, i.e. crazy, baseline. Or as a doctor specializing in emerging infections who's testified before Congress as an expert witness on COVID-19 surmised, and this is a tweet from Dr. Krutika Kupali, sorry if I butchered your name, 13 tweets in 45 minutes sounds like steroid-induced psychosis is setting in. Here's the thing. All of these people that this article is quoting, they may be doctors, but they're not Trump's doctors. They have not actually examined him. They are not able to give a diagnosis just from what they see on social media and on TV. It is dangerous to diagnose people when you don't actually know what conditions that they have. Definitely the word psychosis and talking about security restraining someone undergoing a psychiatric condition, these things should not be thrown around lightly. People live with psychosis every day. People get restrained and involuntarily committed in hospitals every day. Just because Trump always is a terrible person doesn't mean that people should criticize him and do so in a way that's ableist and that throws people with legitimate medical conditions under the bus. When people tweet that Trump is acting crazy, psychotic, narcissistic, sociopathic, when people speculate that Trump is living with medical conditions that are making him senile or his judgment be impaired, when they make fun of his weight, all of these things, they don't hurt Trump. They hurt the people in your life who see these tweets and then recognize that is the butt of the joke. Having a medical condition is the butt of a joke. Being overweight is the butt of a joke. Having Alzheimer's or having lived through a stroke, being disabled, all of these things are considered laughable. I think part of the reason why it's so easy for people to just throw terms like this around when it comes to Trump is because Trump insults people all the time. And also, he's a strong man. He makes a big deal about having this persona that's all rich and tough and, all powerful. And so I think that it can feel just like really tempting to try and poke holes in the veneer. Try and point out that the emperor is wearing no clothes. But there are so many ways that you can insult Trump that don't involve making fun of legitimate medical conditions. Here, I'll show you. I compiled a list, by the way, this list is not at all exhaustive, of fun terms that do not make fun of medical conditions, that do not help perpetuate stigma or ableism, but are very real things that you can call Donald Trump. Abhorrent, apathetic, bigoted, boorish, brash, broke, careless, charlatan, chauvinist, con artist, cruel, dangerous, deceiver, discourteous, discriminatory, distasteful, doctrinaire, egotistical, evil, fallacious, fascist, faulty, greedy, hateful, hypocrite, ignorant, image-obsessed, impenitent, impolite, incongruous, indelicate, insensitive, intolerant, irresponsible, liar, malevolent, mercenary, miserly, monster, nationalist, neglectful, objectionable, obnoxious, orange, parsimonious, partisan, pernicious, philanderer, phony, prejudiced, preposterous, privileged, provocateur, racist, rancorous, rapist, reckless, sadistic, scammer, self-centered, self-contradictory, self-indulgent, selfish, sexist, shallow, spiteful, strongman, swindler, tactless, tyrannical, unattractive, uncharitable, uncouth, unhappy, unlikable, unpalatable, untenable, user, virulent, and xenophobic. I learned some new words today, and you can too if you just take a few seconds and try to actually use the word that you are wanting to use. If you think Trump is being cruel and illogical, don't say psychotic, say cruel and illogical. Or start with a word, go through a thesaurus, and then end up in a place where you are not putting down people with medical conditions in your efforts to insult Donald Trump. I know everyone gets to do what they want and say the things that they want, but I think that it's especially irresponsible for news organizations or media sources like Vanity Fair to be using these words so callously. And I also think that people should not be using these words as well. Trying to, hurt Trump isn't worth perpetuating stigma and hurting the people who are already having to cope with a medical condition. Thank you so much for sitting through my rant and watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, all the YouTube things. Please take care of yourselves. Until next time, bye.